my computer's not on. Happy homecoming. All right, Jen, you're in.
I'm up here.
We're live.
Yeah.
It's a party, Chris. You already know.
10 people.
People are joining too.
What's up, Steve? Evans in the Chris, we in my old neighborhood.
All the way up. All the way up. Close you can, close you can.
Hey, everybody on Facebook Live. Thank you all so much for joining in.
You ready?
You ready? Y'all ready?
Let's do this. Here we go.
Kenny, you got a red cup for real?
You want to tell someone?
Hold on, Chris. Ready?
5, 4, 3, 2.
Good evening, everybody. This is Dana Michelle, and you are watching Dana Being Dana. Thank you all so much for joining in. We are in the homecoming edition. Yes, indeed. Thank you all so much for joining. I am a proud graduate of Spelman College, class of 2000, and we are all here in the building. Thank you so much. I've got my friends here from both Spelman and Morehouse College, and it is homecoming, y'all.
Yeah. Happy homecoming.
Happy homecoming, everybody. Yes, indeed. Thank you all so much for joining. Stay tuned for the homecoming challenge. The homecoming challenge is coming up shortly. Before we get to that, we're going to introduce our first panel. We got 2 panels of Spelman and Morehouse alums here for you tonight. Before we get into who everybody is here, these are all my friends, these are all my people, these are all my folks. I'd like for you to hit your share button. There's a share button on Facebook Live. Please share this video with everybody now so that your friends and your following can share in with us, because the homecoming challenge, and everybody has now known what the homecoming challenge is going to be about, right? Tell me what you think. It's going to be a good one. And we want people to tune in. We want people to be here when we do the reveal. So please hit your little share button. It says S-H-A-R-E. Share the button with your friends and your following, because we want everybody to participate in this homecoming challenge. So let's introduce our first panel. Please tell us your name, your class year, and where you're from.
Timothy Fields, part of the great class of 1998, and I'm originally from Arlington, Texas.
All right.
Terry Evans, class of 98, and we are in my old town of Broadview.
All right. Hey, Terry.
What's up?
Jason Keene, proud member of the class of 2003, originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Jennifer Valerie Croft, class of 2005, I'm from North Chicago.
North Chicago. So Jennifer and I grew up together. I've known Jennifer since before we both went to Spelman. And so for me, just having you all here, we've got some people in the back who you're going to meet after our break, but just having you guys all here means so much to me. I mean, this is the largest panel that I've ever had. And it was a phone call for me to just say, hey, yo, I'm doing this show. I want to do a homecoming challenge. And I want to talk to you all about your Spelman and Morehouse College experience. And for every single person, it was nothing but a thing. And when I was like, do you have a school shirt? Your response was like, absolutely. Which one? So I just want to thank you all. I appreciate you all. And who do we have on the phone?
This is Chris Evans, that proud class of 1998.
Hey, Chris.
From Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chris. And Chris is one of our sponsors. T-Shirt King has been a proud sponsor of Dana Being Dana. Thank you so much, Chris, for everything, for being my friend, my homie, and producing all the Dana Being Dana shirts. We've got a lot of love for you, so thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So for the panel, the first question I have for you all is, why did you choose Spelman or Morehouse? What made you choose this school?
Ladies first.
Ladies first.
Sure.
Ladies first.
So my dad went to Morehouse, and my godparents are his line brother and his girlfriend who was at Spelman at the time. So it was really in my blood. I saw my mom did not go to Spelman, which is interesting. But I saw his network, his friendships. I saw what Spelman and Morehouse looked like on the alum side, and so I kind of grew up in that space.
What does that mean, the alumni side?
I mean, they were just real friends. Like if I
Real
compare it to
friends.
my mom went to PWI, and
What's a PWI?
predominantly white institution.
A predominantly white institution, which is different than an HBCU, which stands for what?
Historically black college.
Yes, honey. So, just like you, my dad went to Morehouse, and my mom went to Fisk, though. And so, I also learned what going to Morehouse and going to Spelman meant at an early age, because my cousin went to Spelman before I joined and came to Spelman. I went to homecoming as a senior in high school.
So did I.
We have so much in common.
Well, it's, schools, your high school will tell you go to your highest ranked school, try to get you to go to Ivy League, and so I think my dad saw that I was leaning that way, and he was like, why don't you grab your girls and you guys go to homecoming? So I went senior year, and that was that.
And that was that. That was a wrap.
Yeah.
Why did some of you others choose Spelman and Morehouse?
So I think similar to the other comments, my brother went to Morehouse. He is a Morehouse grad, so that was my introduction to the art and understanding what that relationship was like. And for me, I think more importantly, I didn't want to be the only black person in my class. I thought it was a transition for me to be able to come out of a high school environment where I was the only one. So Spelman allowed me to be able to be in an environment that allowed me to be who I was. So for me, that was really one of the biggest reasons that I chose Spelman.
Who went to PWI high schools?
I did.
Even in the back, PWI high schools, yeah. Many of us did, right? So the collegiate experience is something that we sought to be different than what we had in high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Danny, can I come in for a second?
Yes, you can, Chris.
Mine was completely different. I'm a first generation HBCU student graduate. And now my nieces are at Spelman, so that's second generation, which is a beautiful thing. So
That's
I love that. But my reason for going was strictly a different world. Just watching what Bill Cosby put together on TV, I was like, man, that's cool. And Morehouse was the only school I applied to. I got accepted, got a letter in the mail saying come early to check it out. Gave it to my dad. He was like, oh, hell no, you ain't going. You already know you're going there. That's for people that don't know whether or not they want to go. You going, so I'm not spending this money. So my first time being on the HBCU campus was freshman week.
You mean like A Different World, the TV show back in the day?
A Different World, the TV show produced by Bill Cosby.
And what was the school that
Created by
people,
Bill.
what was the school that people went to in A Different World?
They went to Hillman.
Hillman College. Now, is that a real school? This is for all the people out there who don't know. Is this a real school?
It felt real at the time, but I later found out it's not a real school. It was completely fictional as far as I know.
But some of the pictures are of what?
Spelman.
Spelman College, yes indeed. So the pictures you see on A Different World episodes, and I encourage you all to watch A Different World, because I too got a lot of my sense of college, not knowing that it was Spelman, but watching A Different World and watching the Cosby Show. And so seeing and going to school in that environment was very impactful for me. Was going to school at Spelman and Morehouse like school days? Now, Spike Lee is a graduate of Morehouse. School days, and you see Drumline, which I think was also filmed down in the AUC, which is the Atlanta University Center. Was going to school there like school days or Drumline? Are we wannabes and jigaboos?
I think there's some elements of HBCU life, especially Spelman and Morehouse, in some of those movies. Now, it's not the actual experience, but I mean, you have all sort of the fringe elements. You have the fraternities and sororities, you have the band, you have sort of the different cliques that you would see at any school, but for school days, it was specific towards us. Mm-hmm. And so, while a lot of people use school days as a marker, I think that, you take bits and pieces, but it's not the actual experience. You kind of have to go to actually get the actual experience as opposed to seeing it on a movie.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say Drumline really kind of resonated with me because it came out later. Because I ran track and field and cross country in college, and so
Jesse Owens.
I was a distance runner. You know, I won a couple of conference championships, 7 at 8. I had to drop that. I'm American, you know, one Willie Hill boy. But so that whole idea that you had a clique. So you know, my experience was really my track. People I ran track and cross country with. So when people said, "Oh, I went to Daytona Beach," never went because I was running track. Oh, we did Freaknik. Never did it because we were running track. So like my experience was just that around lots of people, and then so we knew a lot of other I knew a lot of athletes. So the football team knew the football team. People in the band knew the people in the band, and so yeah, you knew other people, but most of your peer group was around that group of people, and I think that was one of the things that when I saw Drumline that I said, yeah, you know, those band people are very, very serious, and that's their clique because of how much they practice. And when I think we used to have to be up at 6, and we used to be up, you know, running on weekends, that was, you know, all the people. And I think today I talked to 4 or 5 people that I ran track and field with in cross country. So it's still tight to this day.
So that's one of the things about Spelman and Morehouse is that the bonds just get better with time, right? It's not just your collegiate experience. It's not just those 4 or 5 years, depending on where you went to school.
3 credit hours.
It's depending on how long it took you to get out. But it's much more than that. And I can absolutely say that some of my friendships, people that I knew in school, I have become friends with, closer bonds since we've graduated, which I think is fantastic. We are in the midst of homecoming week. For those of you who didn't attend Spelman or Morehouse, homecoming is a week-long event. It's not just a game. It starts with the Monday activities and culminates with your game and Friday and Saturday night activities, and then usually a church service. It's so funny.
It's a long week.
It's a long week. So we are in Wednesday, hump day.
But I would say it's physically a week, but mentally it's a year-long process.
Oh, that's true.
Because
That's true.
I know people who, as soon as homecoming is over, they start planning
For the next
for the
one.
next one. And
Absolutely.
so
At least hydrating.
there's a group of us who've been planning homecoming the last 9 months.
Yes, indeed.
So this
if you're
is
watching
serious.
and you're tuning in now, please share the video if you haven't shared it already. We're getting ready to reveal the homecoming challenge in a few. But before we get to that, I want to talk about, so what exactly happens at homecoming? I think a lot of people who are interested in Spelman and Morehouse, right? Especially if they're single and they're ready to mingle, they're looking to date, right? I want somebody who's college educated. You know, go to homecoming, right? Because you can get what, like 73 dates and just wear one outfit, right? You wear this to homecoming, you meet, it's like speed dating. It's speed dating. You meet this person, this person, this person. So what exactly happens at homecoming? Besides what? The solo cups?
The red cup.
Cheers. Cheers.
Or a bottle. You will
Or
let
a
me bring a
bottle.
bottle up here. I have
So-
a bottle.
People have backpacks and all kinds of things when they come to homecoming. So
Just so interesting for dry campuses, right?
very interesting for dry campuses, exactly. So in your words, what happens at homecoming
Oh, man. A whole
that
lot.
you can share
I know, a lot of records.
with your mama watching?
You know, for me, I think we all live really, really crazy, hectic lives, whether it's being a mom or being a dad or just working or whatever life has brought your way. So for me, it's the one time a year that me and my girls get together. And for us, it's really been a kind of family-free zone, no judgment for those that do bring their families.
Kind of like girls trip.
But we make a commitment, and we actually started doing this when a classmate of ours passed away. But we make a commitment to go back every year, and we party from the time we land to the time we leave. We party, like we just catch up and party. So for me, it's it's non-business. I'm usually all about what's the next move, what's the next network move, what's the next business move. For this, it's like all about just having a good time. So
And who is that classmate?
for me,
Mhm.
that I catch up with,
No, you're talking about the classmate that passed away.
oh, Myron.
Yeah.
Myron Bird.
Myron Burney. And this show is dedicated to Myron. Myron was a good friend of mine. We did First Fridays Atlanta together, so I know he's watching from up in heaven. So we just thank him
Yes.
and honor him. Myron was Mr. Homecoming, and if you know Myron, please share the video because this is for him, this is dedicated to him. He was a very, very good friend of mine, and we lost him in a car accident 3 years ago. So we all got a lesson on living life
Yeah.
through him, through his life and his passing. So thank you for that. So what's your most memorable thing about school? What's your favorite memory about school?
We were talking about this. I don't know if there's one. I mean, I'll go the entire freshman year, starting from moving into the dorms. I was president of HH. They're just
That's HH Phi Beta.
HH.
Howard Harold, the largest dorm at Spelman College, the best dorm at Spelman
Thank
College.
you. Thank
There's a little haterade going on in the back gallery.
No.
There's some discussion about what dorm is the best.
Everything, like meeting your Morehouse brother. I mean, just all of freshman year, it was so new. It was like a big party all year long. So it's hard to answer that question.
Spelman and Morehouse, and I think like many HBCUs, are very rich in tradition. We have so many traditions. There's a school song. Does anybody not know the words to the school song? We sang it 1,000,000 times, and I know people at Morehouse knew their song too. And so just the traditions is what makes our HBCUs so special and near and dear to us. Any other memorable things about school?
I mean, I would say, and as we kind of alluded to at the beginning, you know, I grew up in a predominantly white area. High school was probably 20% black. And so just coming to Atlanta, and this was when Atlanta was like really beginning to grow, the Olympics was coming. You know, I tell the story that the reason I came to Morehouse is because the Southern playlist of Cadillac Funky Music.
And who was that, Tim?
When
Outkast was on the
when
map.
Players Ball came out, I was like, I just gotta be in Atlanta. And then so, I mean, I think that attracted me to Atlanta. And so my memories are like being in Atlanta, like being in Mosley Park on a Sunday when we got back and just being with like the folks and like 559. So you were in the AUC in the late 90s. You know about 559 on Thursday night. And I mean, I saw Bum B, UGK, 8 Ball. It was up the street in the block. I mean, so yeah. Oh, yeah, I took a shot. All right.
Because
Hey.
we had to be safe.
So I just think about all like everything that was happening in Atlanta during that time, and like that summer 1996 when the Olympics was there. If you didn't come up with any money that summer, you don't have no hustle about you. None at
96
all.
gonna be that year.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to point out Tim's shirt, which I think is amazing. His shirt says "Happy Homecoming,"
Absolutely.
and it's got "Happy Homecoming."
Happy homecoming.
It's the years that Spelman and Morehouse were both signing in, and so just happy homecoming to all of you.
True story, when I was having the shirt made, I had to call some of my friends from Spelman and say, what year were y'all founded? And they cussed me out. But I just want to get it right, man, you know? Walking around with the wrong year wouldn't have been good.
No, that would not.
It's funny when you post, you know, Founders Day. I think everybody posts like Happy Founders Day, and I have people who are like, you know Founders Day at your school? I'm like, yes.
You have to know.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think even when people say you go back to your homecoming,
Yeah.
right? A lot of people don't even go back to their homecoming. They don't give back to their schools.
That's so true.
They don't have college friends. The connections that we have at our HBCUs run deep. And I think that's true. What is poignant for me about not only this show, but the fact that there are so many other schools, HBCUs, that have homecoming this week. And I've been in this game for a long time. College graduate, that is. And so many, I've never, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but Clark, Morehouse, Spelman, Howard, and Hampton all having homecomings on the very same weekend. This is awesome, which is why the homecoming challenge is applicable to everybody. But I think everybody goes back. I was hanging out with some friends of mine who went to Hampton, and that's when I started to make the connection last weekend. And they were like, yeah, this is great, we're hanging out, woo-woo. Next weekend we're going to Hampton for our homecoming. I was like, for real? Like, that's what our homecoming is. And they too have similar memories and connections of their experiences, which is pretty awesome. So, before we reveal the homecoming challenge, which is coming up soon, please share this video if you haven't already. freshman dorms. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of a huge question that people ask when it comes to Spelman and Morehouse is, where did you stay freshman year? I don't care where you're from. I don't care what sorority you're in or fraternity you're in. Where did you stay freshman year? So what is so special about the freshman dorm experience?
You wrote.
The freshman dorm experience is very interesting. You know, like a lot of people here, I came from, you know, predominantly white high school, so it was kind of a culture shock for me living in the freshman dorm with all those brothers and however they, you know, kept their room or whatever. So I always like to tell the story when I first arrived at Morehouse at William Jefferson White Hall. My mother was horrified at the condition. So
Your mother was horrified.
Yeah, she was horrified at the condition. She's like, we're gonna leave him here. So, but all in all, it was, you know, it really provided an experience for everybody to really get to know one another. I mean, when you live with that many people in those kind of cramped quarters, you really develop some strong bonds. So, like a lot of people, a lot of my friends who I met were either in my dorm, on my floor, or, you know, right across the hall. So, you know, those kind of, you know, bonds, they last a lifetime.
It's true.
So it's kind of a shared experience. You know, it's Spartan conditions, but I think that really, you know, builds a lot of tight bonds.
I was salty when I found out that HH has air conditioning now. Like, that's not even part of the experience. Like, you gotta have the moving in, sweating, going through the heat. Yeah, that's just part of the whole experience. So.
Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Shout out to Glaze Hall, second floor.
Grace Hall. So my dad stayed in Grace Hall.
He's a good man, definitely a good man.
Yes, indeed. Okay,
But
go ahead.
no. To the dorm experience, I mean, it's everything. Those are guys you're up with late at night. Those are ones you probably still keep in touch with now. I know our floor runs strong and runs deep. We'll catch up at homecoming and tailgate, and just pick up right where we left off. So, I mean, dorm life at the HBCU is definitely everything.
That's exactly true. I think the people that I talk to the most are my friends from freshman year. HH, Penthouse, shout out to y'all. Many of you all I saw this summer in DC, so it's a good thing, and people really stay in touch.
And the tent we have every year is my freshman year roommate, Tyler Mapson. Been doing it since 1998, every year for the last whatever, how many years I can add. You know, we do it. And so, like, I just talked to him tonight. He said, we got everything together, and he's like, let's do this. And so, you know, the person who lives right next to us, Damani, Chief Beats, is going to be DJing. He lives next door to us.
Yes.
Daniel Chisholm was across the hall. So they're like 6 of us, and we knew everybody. And we'd get back, and there, you know, we do it like we act like we're 18 again. So that's my homecoming experience, like to act like I'm 18 and I have no care in the world.
That's awesome. All right, so without further ado, we're going to reveal the homecoming challenge. Chris, are you ready?
I'm ready for it.
Hold on one second. We're going to bring the whole panel, both panels up for the homecoming reveal. The homecoming challenge reveal. I think this is awesome, and I think this is so important, which is why please share if you haven't already. You may want to share after we reveal what the homecoming challenge is all about. But this is all about giving back. Dana Being Dana is a show about the human connection. These are all friends of mine. These aren't people who I had to research and find. These are people who I reached out to, or people who knew me and who I knew. And the homecoming challenge is something that's relatively easy for us. And this is just what I do. This is something that we do. And when it comes to giving back, this is something that's the bread and butter and part of who I am. And that's why I want to have this homecoming challenge. Chris and I have been talking about shirts and all that. You know, Chris he owns T-Shirt King, and they have been gracious sponsors of Dana Being Dana. I love you, Chris. You're my guy. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate that. But we've been talking about, and he's also a really good friend of Myron Beto, who this show is dedicated to. And in terms of the homecoming challenge, we've been talking back and forth about this. And so without further ado, Chris, can you start off, you know, what the homecoming challenge is all about?
Yeah, definitely. So again, in the spirit of Myron, he stayed in grade tall. He was 206. Me and Aaron Ellison, Big Ed, were in 214. So he's always been like a roommate to me, a brother to me. After we graduated, we lived together for another 3 or 4 years. So, you know, seeing him day in and day out, and him being Mr. Homecoming, the big thing he always stressed about homecoming was give until it hurts. He was very instrumental in recruiting for Morehouse. Education wasn't his thing, but he realized early on, even when we were still students, that HBCU alone don't give enough to the college. So
Yes.
first off, I strongly urge that everybody that's listening and tuned in, that you make your official donations to Spelman College, Morehouse College, Clark Atlanta, Hampton, everybody, the schools you named having homecoming, even the ones that aren't having homecoming this weekend. Definitely give. We strongly encourage, Tim and I have been talking about, we strongly encourage, you know, set up something where you're giving every month. That's important to get larger donors to the school. But the homecoming challenge is just something simple. We talked about the freshman dorm. Go back to your freshman dorm, connect the generations, go back to the freshman dorm, and just drop some cash on the people that stayed in the room that you stayed in. How awesome is that? Show, you know, Morehouse and Spelman, they're not great because we went there. They were great before us because the people before us did something great. So it's us to carry on that tradition. You know, give the millennials a hard time about their work ethic or whatever. Just go back to the freshman dorm and drop some cash, a business card, connect with those individuals that stayed in the same room that you stayed in. That's the basis of the challenge. You know, to the extent you can capture it on video or pictures and actual acts of doing it, just go out and do it and give and show, you know, that these students, hey, when I look up at this building, I was dreaming about being a doctor, or I was dreaming about being an educator, or I was dreaming about being an entrepreneur, and I was in the exact same room that you're in. I posted something earlier today on Facebook. Every year I think about homecoming, I had Dr. Payne for chemistry.
Yes.
And a lot of the tests come out, you know, you take those first tests homecoming week. It's by design. You know, relate to the brothers and sisters that are going through it right now. They just need a word of encouragement. I would have loved if somebody would have came and dropped $20, $30 on me during homecoming week.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
I would love, you know,
Preach,
great
brother.
that'd be it. You know, you could have added cheese to your ramen noodles. You know?
Cheese to your ramen noodles. What?
But real talk, Chris, and thank you so much because originally that was Chris's idea, was to give money back to the dorm, and what people don't realize is that hunger is an issue on college campuses. People are barely paying student loans, paying tuition. After tuition and room and board, there's not enough money left over for many students to eat. So people are going hungry at college campuses, prestigious college campuses. The number of food pantries that have opened up to support students in college is astounding. So this homecoming challenge is real. Please share the video if you haven't.
The refund checks that students get are nothing like the refund checks that we got when we were in school.
Which is exactly right. A lot of things aren't the same as what they were when we were in school. And so to just demonstrate what we mean by this homecoming challenge, again, go to your freshman dorm when you go to homecoming or whenever you go back to school. It doesn't have to be this weekend. Whenever you next go back to school, go to your freshman dorm. Seek out the freshman who's in your bed, in your room. Give them a donation. And I think what's also equally important is sharing with them who you are, your experience, words of encouragement, and ask them to share with you their grades. Become a mentor to those people, because you never know who you can touch. Something that seems to be so innocent or quick to you can be life-changing for younger people who are following in your footsteps. And so I bought a card for the 2 girls in my room. You're in HH. I called some of my friends from school who were on the penthouse floor. They don't remember what room numbers were, and I know Abby's been renovated, so just guesstimate. It's okay. Just pick a chick. It's cool. So this is what I wrote. This is what I wrote to the Spelman sisters who are in my bed right now. Dear Spelman sister, 21 years ago, you did the math, I was in this bed, an excited first year with my whole life ahead of me. Spelman is a very special place that you will not fully appreciate until much later. But I give you this advice. Study hard, be kind, and be grateful. Here's $20 to treat yourself. Please stay in touch. I've attached my business card. I'd like to know more about you, and I want to start with your first year semester grades. Wishing you all the best in school, sisterly, Dana from Dana Being Dana. So what I want is I want this to be shared with everybody. People like, she's just peddling her show. No, I want people to share this video because I want to share this message.
Yeah.
I think the message of giving back, you know, I believe in to whom much is given, much is required. And I want everybody to share this video. I want people to go back and invest in your freshman dorm. It's not just about, you know, kicking it at homecoming and turning, hey girl, how you so cute, you so good, turn it up, how you doing? No, it's more about giving back and making an impact on the people who are coming behind us. That's what I want to happen. That's the movement that I want to inspire. So please share the video. We're going to take a quick break. Thank you so much, Chris. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with the second half of our panel and the second half of our show. This is Dana Being Dana on intellectualradio.com and iHeart Radio Station. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Danny.
Thank you, Chris. So we'll switch out. Refill cups, switch shirts.
Chris, which dorms are your nieces in?
Facebook Live is still going, so don't say nothing crazy.
Hey, shout out to 98.
Shout out to 98.
Hey,
Hey, Chris.
Erica,
You better drop
Jenny, Eric.
You better text us
Big
their
A,
dorm
the
rules
blue
so they can
boys.
get some 20s.
Tori, Penthouse, Tequila. You know who it is. Pour up.
Hey, Chris.
Wait, hold up. Y'all see
Because if we don't
the
drop the 20s, you're going to have to drop them.
Y'all see the back? You see what it says? What that say? Bam. Your mind.
Is this peanut butter and jelly?
Morehouse shirt wasn't so raggedy.
Oh my God. Peanut butter and jelly's in
I
house.
started ragging too. I had 3 of them out. Like, which one? Oh,
We got to bring them to tailgate, Chris. Oh, cool. All right.
Everybody in the world,
Make sure we meet them on Saturday.
just so you know.
That's all.
I like actually ball.
That is all. Sorry.
I'm good.
My stuff is.
Well, you know, there's always. They were like, what, like, you know, the
Did you have the
like,
apology?
yeah, no, and everything. And they were like, what's the value of the items? And I was like, crisis.
Sorry,
Don't want to
They
see
moved to Chicago after
I
college.
wrote the apology. You wrote the apology.
Really? Yeah.
Like,
I don't know that, man.
And Collegiate paid me a tracksuit and $50. I'm not kidding. And I got a velour tracksuit and $50.
And how many apology shirts did they say?
Oh my God! When I started seeing the Greek ones, I was like, I should have got one.
You really should
Are you
have
ready,
got
good?
some credit for this.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Here.
wait, did you guys
Huh?
follow on start?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody phone me up.
Shut up, I didn't know. That's amazing.
Hey Dana, are you gonna keep him on the line?
Chris, you still there, right?
You gonna keep him on?
Do I hear what?
You gonna keep him on?
He's still on. Yeah, he's staying on.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, you're staying on, right? Okay.
Ready?
You guys ready?
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Thank you all for tuning in to Dana Being Dana. Once again, I'm your host, Dana Michelle, and we are here for the homecoming edition. Once again, I'm here with some of my friends from college. Thank you all so much for being here. Homecoming cometh. It is homecoming, y'all. Happy homecoming. Please share the video if you haven't already. We've revealed the homecoming challenge. Everybody's really excited about it. Any reactions to the homecoming challenge? Please introduce yourself and state your name, your year, and where you're from.
Quincy Payton. I am from Chicago, Illinois. I'm a native, and I am class of 1999.
I'm Kimberly Cook. I grew up in the Republic of Panama, and I'm class of 2001, and I think the homecoming challenge is fantastic.
Corey Richardson. I am from Newport News, Virginia, and I am a member of the class of 2000 who happened to walk in the class of 2000.
It don't matter when you walk. It's just when you're supposed to walk.
Took the scenic route.
The scenic route.
Hey everybody, I'm Shantae Thomas from Eastern Georgia, class of 2000.
Awesome. All right. So let's talk about the difference. We've defined acronyms, right? So we've got HBCUs and PWIs. What's the difference, and what makes Spelman and Morehouse so great, in your opinion?
Well, I can answer. I actually went to both. I have a master's and a PhD from PWIs. My bachelor's is from Morehouse. And I'll be succinct in my answer. When I was at Morehouse, because I love this question, I can honestly say I never had a bad day. I cannot recall one bad day in those 4 years. Now, I was getting my master's and my doctorate, I had plenty of bad days. But I can honestly say, especially to any parents who are listening, anyone who is thinking about sending their child to an HBCU, imagine 4 years from now, starting from today, never having a bad day. That was my life for 4 years. And that is the best way I can answer that question.
That's a good answer. I think for me, really, having that foundation where you are in an environment where everybody, for the most part, they look like you, right? So it's not about your gender, it's not about your skin color. And for the first time, coming into an environment where I wasn't the only brown girl in the room, being the only girl in the room, it really was about my own abilities. And so I became, I believe, my best self in those 4 years. It taught me a lot about who I am, but it taught me ways to set myself apart and not relying on, I'm the only, I'm the only black person here. And so that led to a foundation in my later life where it became, I'm not intimidated by really any environment, because it was, look, this is 4 years of stripping away at everything and bringing your A game all the time. Now, I will also say, while it's great that he didn't have a bad day, I had some bad days, but not because Spelman's fantastic, but because Spelman was very competitive, but in a good way, and it challenged me, and to this day, I say, even my worst day at work doesn't touch the level of competition, but good competition that I felt, at school. There's nothing like an 8 a.m. with, 25 other, black women whose hair is laid at 8 a.m. To bring your
What dorm was that?
That was Abby Sci-Fi.
To piggyback off of that, I'll say this. The expectation that you were going to be great was just there, right? Because nobody else was going to be great in your place. So there was when I got to campus, the president of the SGA was a black dude, the editor of the newspaper was a black dude, the captain of the football team was black. Everybody was black who was doing anything. And so the expectation was nobody else is going to step in here and do these jobs. When I was a senior, Morehouse gave me $200,000 and said, put on homecoming. They said, just do it.
Just do it.
Like, they trusted me.
Just make it happen.
And I wouldn't have gotten that kind of just straight experience and level of trust. And again, the expectation of greatness, the expectation that you were going to deliver any place else. You go into the valedictorian, this black dude, right? Except for that 1 year. But even then, hey, he had the same shot coming in everybody else did.
He was from Kansas City, too. Shout out to KC.
I agree with everyone said. I agree about that. And I think that just what Kim said about the foundation of, even now, like when the foundation of expectation, you can be great and you are expected to actually be great. And even now, because of waking up and going to classes and with all black women who are fantastic, I'll look around now like, whoa, I'm the only black person here. And it doesn't even, you just realize that, okay, well, all right, well, let's continue. But I do think it equips you with a fundamental level of confidence that you can't, as black people in America, that you really need to go have every day to go forward and have a good day, I think.
Especially now, right? We are in a time, in a place where race is such a pertinent piece of the equation. Have you heard that, you could tell a difference between those who went to PWIs, which again are predominantly white institutions, and HBCUs. Because for me, and I'm an attorney in the daytime, people tell me all the time, there's an air of confidence about you, there's an air of assurance about you, that I don't see from other people of color. And have you ever had that experience, or had anybody tell you there's a difference between people who went to HBCUs, a certain level of confidence, meaning that the opportunity to be in an HBCU for 4 years, where you mostly see people who just look like you, versus being at a PWI?
Well, I think it has.
Talk to the mic.
I'm sorry. I think that there's a duality, right? There's the confidence side of things, right? Where I can do this, right? But I think the other thing about it is you have a network behind you. You have all these people who have your back.
Yes.
When you go to an HBCU, you can get, some people think that you might get coddled, but really it's getting that kick in the butt sometimes that helps you, particularly from somebody who looks like you, somebody who understands your struggle or understands where you're coming from. That helps get you kind of over the hump, right? When you have professors who they're hard on you, but then they know your story. They
love you.
They love you, right? I remember skipping class one day and standing out in front of the Wheeler Hall smoking a cigarette after I skipped class. And Dr. Aiden Davis came downstairs and was like, "Where were you today?" Right?
Yeah.
Like, son, we had class at 11 o'clock this morning. You weren't there. It's now 2 o'clock.
What
You
are
stayed
you
out here
doing?
smoking a cigarette. You had time. What were you doing? And that translates, again, those role models you become those role models.
It's true.
And so when you go to work, when you work in those professional environments, you take that on. Like when I'm at work, I always say, as a manager, my job is to be a manager and a mentor, right? And I get that because I was mentored when I was at Morehouse. I had people who cared about me when I was at Morehouse.
Right. It's true. And as a mentor, right, the Homecoming Challenge is about mentoring others. It's about going into your freshman dorms, not only giving a monetary donation, but also extending yourself as a mentor, as somebody who's been where they've been, in the exact same shoes, room, place where the person is that you're visiting. So more details about the Homecoming Challenge, please share if you haven't already. It's going to be a great thing for homecoming, which I think is going to be awesome. It can be done at any school, anytime, any place.
I just want to, you said, giving back to, and going back to your freshman dorm, which is, again, this homecoming challenge, this is fantastic, but I have to agree with Jennifer back there. I'm a little bothered by this air conditioning at Abbey.
The air conditioning at Abbey?
Listen, I gotta say, there's something about, in August in Atlanta,
Hey.
and
Who didn't have air conditioning? Who didn't have air conditioning freshman year?
There's
My
something
dorm
about
room and my parents, I love you, Dad, and my mother. I had the biggest fan.
Oh no, we had a big sit in the window fan, but I just feel like that's a part of that experience.
It is part of the experience.
And my roommate was from Chicago. She was not handling that heat well. I came from Panama, so I was like, this is nothing. She was dying. Then it hit 50 degrees in Atlanta, and I was freezing, and she was like, this is springtime.
Yeah, good to go.
I actually take a different view. I think the AC and all the other improvements, not just on campus, but surrounding the West End neighborhood where Morehouse and the AUC is encompassed, is a byproduct of the improvements that have occurred in inner city Atlanta and in the AUC that really goes for the betterment of our students. There's a new stadium, there's not a new stadium, but a new arena, there are new dorms. When I got there, Morehouse was bare bones. We did not have a lot, but we did have each other. And to answer the previous question very, very quickly, there's a distinction that I make with when I wear a Morehouse t-shirt and I go to the mall, and when a parent walks up to me and says, "You went to Morehouse? I don't know you, but would you mind talking to my son?" That I live for. And I wear that t-shirt more proudly every time I put it on than the time previous. And for people who don't know me and don't know I went to Morehouse, when they find out that I did, there is a calibration of, oh, now I understand.
Yes,
And that is priceless.
that's true. That's very true. And along those same lines, in that same vein, right? I have a couple of quotes for you all that I want you guys to opine on. Terry, if you want to join in, if y'all want to jump in from the peanut gallery, you're welcome to. But tell me what this means to you. So I've heard a couple things in preparing for this show. You can tell a Morehouse man or a Spelman woman, but you can't tell him or her much. What does that mean? And someone and I hear this all the time. You know, Spelman women are a lot to handle. Right? What? Morehouse men have a lot going on. What does that mean?
I mean, first off, I disagree with that statement.
What?
No, I do, because I disagree with the whole can't tell a Morehouse man much, da. You just gotta know how to tell a Morehouse man something.
By a Spelman woman.
No.
You gotta have some sense.
like I have a network of Morehouse men that I will communicate with, talk to, speak with, whatever. And my wife knows if she wants to get an idea to me, she gotta get it to them. So you can tell a Morehouse man, you just gotta tell it to another Morehouse man. That's it. It's not hard. You just gotta find another Morehouse guy.
Chris, you there?
I'm here. I mean, it's been good fun. You know, I mean, a lot of times we just well travel. We know a lot of people. We have a strong network. We have doctors that we can call to get answers. So, I mean, we know how to get answers. It's that resourcefulness of being on the HBCU campus. You know, we'll figure it out. You don't have to tell us. We'll figure it out. We probably already know it. But we got a right-hand man that can get us the necessary information. So it's the resourcefulness.
I think there is a resourcefulness, and I think it's about, people underestimate as an adult how important your network is. Being able to have somebody at your fingertips who can get something done, who can get an answer for you, who can get it in, who can make something happen. That resource is invaluable. And I think what I'm so proud of by being a Spelman grad, and I've already had my 15 year, just having people in my circle, I'm so proud of my class. And Sean and Corey are members of my class, and just what our friends are doing now, you know, where they're at, how they've lived their lives, the choices they've made, and how things have turned out for them. It's amazing. It's awesome. And I'm just so blessed. And it's not just our year, but because of my cousin Rocky, love you, just having access and being part of relationships and friendships of classes that are older than me. That's how I got connected to the class of '98, is because my cousin went to school before me at Spelman, and just having all those connections. It's been awesome, and I'm just so proud of all of the things that people at Spelman and Morehouse are doing.
And 98 is just a good damn class.
98. I mean, just to piggyback on that though, Dana, it's amazing when you scroll through your social media timeline, or you're trying to catch up with friends who's coming to homecoming. One of my close friends, he said tomorrow he has a meeting in D.C. to talk about the new executive order that Trump signed, because that's where he is in his career in healthcare. You got other friends that are opening businesses, other friends that are donating hundreds of thousands of dollars to the college. And I know I'm a couple years older than you, but it's just amazing to see that transition from, yeah, we party, we go hard at homecoming, but, you know, come Monday morning, or for some of us Tuesday morning, it's back to business making major moves.
Tuesday.
Yeah, and had some friends who were at Gucci's wedding last night.
Yeah. I think
A Morehouse man was at Gucci's wedding last night.
I think one of the most recent examples of that is the new mayor of Birmingham.
Yes.
How all of the Morehouse.
Shout out to 2003.
Yeah.
Yes, 2003, the mayor of Birmingham.
Yeah, so that kind of piggybacks off of the network, and how amazing the brotherhood or sisterhood in our case is, that all of his brothers from all classes came to support him.
Yeah.
And it made national news, essentially. Basically.
Absolutely.
So I think that goes to how amazing the experience is.
Yep.
Have your freshman roommate there with you when you are, you know, find that you just won, you'll be the mayor for the next 4 years in your hometown.
Yep. So thank you all for coming out. I really appreciate this. I want to reiterate the Homecoming Challenge once again. As Chris and I have said, it's about going back to your freshman dorm. It's about visiting your room, talking to the person who is in your room, or the people who are in your room, giving them a donation, and sharing with them what Spelman or Morehouse means to you, or any school that you're at. Thank you to our sponsors, T-Shirt King, which is Chris Evans. You can reach him at www.kingpromo.com. Chris, is that how they reach you? Woo-hoo!
That's correct. Yeah.
That's exactly right. So thank you so much. And Scene Chicago, our other sponsor, thank you so much for sponsoring us tonight. Thank you to all my guests. Thank you to all my friends. Spellhouse Homecoming. I will see you all in the A. We're down. We are toasting. We're over here toasting. Thank you all so much. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all being here. Yes, indeed. Happy homecoming, everybody.
ATL tomorrow night.
Yes, indeed.
Morehouse.
All in
We there.
Atlanta. This is
ready.
Dana Being Dana. Please share the video. We want everybody to be inspired. We want everybody to give back. Next week on Dana Being Dana, we are talking about dating. Dating. You cannot, you can't meet anybody on your couch, so get out there. And I promise you, if you believe in dating, come to homecoming. 73 dates, one outfit. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Dana Being Dana. I'm Dana Michelle. Thank you all. Good night.
Cheers, cheers. Great job.